What's up? Hey, everybody. I'm Joey Nichols, Joey Pickles. I'm super glad you're here today. What we're going to be talking about is 4 ways that you can be happier in life. So, the first way we can be happier in life is to actually pause. So, what does that mean? What does pause have to do with it? Pausing is allowing ourselves to be present to receive this information coming in. And after we receive the information, we start to train ourselves through the act of pausing to respond rather than react. And it's an important distinction because when we have a piece of information come in, whether that's something somebody says, we're watching the news, we have a thought, right? Something crosses our mind. Whenever that new piece of information comes in, our brains have been trained by society to react, to create a story around that piece of information, to create a meaning around it. And that meaning, that story, creates an emotional response as well. So, in a sense, we are responding and having emotional reactions to things that don't exist because the only meaning something has is that which we give it. So, what pausing actually allows us to do is have a brief moment in between the information and our response. It takes us away from that reaction. It gives us a moment of clarity. So when I hear something from somebody, I will have a tendency to react a certain way, but through pausing, I can question that. Okay, based upon what I know about this person, place, or thing, is my reaction justified? Is it likely? Is it helping me to think this way? Probably not. 9 times out of 10, my first reaction is not skillful. So I pause and say, let's not make assumptions. This is the story that I'm creating. I'm having feelings of this. I can let go of this and ask questions to get more clarity on this, or I can choose not to buy into this and not to believe in this. So this does not happen all the time for me, but it happens way more often because I'm in the habit of practicing this. And there are a couple techniques that also are behind this. The Work by Byron Katie is one where you have a thought and you can actually go, I want to say it's thework.com. You can Google Byron Katie and you can look up her worksheets. And it's basically this thought, is this true? Am I absolutely sure it's true? Who would I be without this thought? And then there's some other items on the worksheet, but it's basically training us to be able to catch these thoughts, question them, and then work through them. And at the end of the exercise, there's usually a twist where we actually take responsibility and ownership for whatever we're feeling. So next, the second one, it goes along with the first one. It's actually to meditate. So what is meditation? There's a lot of different ways to meditate. It's basically becoming present in the moment. Same way that we pause. We have that brief space. When we're breathing in, we feel the sensation of our breath, and then there's this space where we're not breathing in and we're not breathing out. It's just in our lungs. And we notice that space, like the space between notes, like the space between thoughts. That space is the stillness, is the presence, is all that is. And so by meditating, we get to become more comfortable with that because a lot of times our minds are so used to racing, just like the stories, right? We get so used to being in the past or being in the future, living in other people's minds, assuming things, right? The 4 agreements, don't make assumptions, right? Don't take anything personally. So projecting all of this stuff, but we actually can be mindful and present. And meditation helps us do that. It actually has physiological changes in the brain after meditating. So a simple way to do it is to sit, feet on the floor. You can close your eyes, get comfortable, rock back and forth. So you're sitting on your sit bone, around where your hips are. You can gently squeeze your shoulders together, shoulder blades together. Try to have a straight back. But what's more important is to actually just do it. So even if your posture is horrible, the fact that you're doing it consistently is going to be more important than doing it perfectly once. So then you're sitting here and realize that you're sitting here, right? So you can breathe in and use your belly. If you're not familiar with the belly breath, think of below your belly button, picture that. And when you breathe in, that part expands. You're not pushing out with it forcefully, but when you breathe in to that area, think of breathing into your balls or your lower area, your crotch. Breathe into your crotch. And it's naturally going to push out your lower stomach. And then breathe out. And so just notice the sensation. You don't force it. Just breathe in, and there's that space in between your breath. And breathe out when it's comfortable. And you just notice your breath and just notice your place in the room. Notice the space around you. Notice your feet touching the ground, your hands where they are in your lap or clasped together. Notice the weight of your body in the chair. Notice the position of your head. Notice how you are in this moment. And your mind will probably start wandering. You'll probably start thinking about things you need to do or maybe what happened yesterday. And just notice your thoughts. And give a little chuckle, have compassion. It's not that serious. We're being easy with ourselves, light, playful. Cool, so we had a thought. Now shift our attention back. Generally, maybe to the space between your forehead. You can direct your focus. Think about when you're focusing very intently on somebody or something. You can do that to the space between your eyes. Gently, but focused. And there's nothing to do except sit and be present, which is everything. So that's number 2. By just those 2 alone, if you do those every day for 30 days, you'll feel a difference. You do them for longer, the quality of your life very well may start to improve exponentially. So we've paused, we've meditated. Number 3 is assume that you're wrong whenever there's conflict, whenever you feel upset. And this can be a tough one for people. It can be a tough one for me too. But there's a saying, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? A lot of times the tension, the frustration, the anger comes from a sense of not being acknowledged, not being seen, heard, understood, respected. And a lot of times when one feels that way, it's because they're taking things personally. It's because they're making assumptions. It's because they didn't do their best, but they don't want to admit it. And by assuming that if I am disturbed, if I'm having some kind of reaction, if I'm feeling resentful, if I'm feeling fearful, if I'm feeling angry, if I want to tell somebody off, if I want to argue, if I just pause and tell myself that there's probably something that I don't know about this person or the situation. And because I'm the only one that can affect my mood, right? Because I'm the only one that creates meaning in stories, then I'm probably wrong. If the other person's wrong and I'm right, then I have to do something to get them to see that, right? And then I'm no longer worried about my own emotions. I'm worried about trying to control somebody else's emotions. I'm worried about trying to control the outcome. Essentially, I'm playing God, trying to control everything and make life fit into the frame I have for it. And if everything would just stay put and be molded into the way that I think it should, then I would be happy. But that sets me up for failure because then my happiness is dependent on everyone and everything behaving the way I think it should. So instead, I just assume I'm wrong. Now, with any of this stuff, obviously use common sense. if there's any dangerous situations someone's in, or I can't even think of an example right now, but it's not just laying down. It's not just setting oneself up for being walked all over or tolerating abusive situations. What I'm talking about is more of a way to approach life. If someone does something that make me mad, they actually didn't make me mad. It's my interpretation of what they said most of the time. Or maybe it's because I didn't say something that I should have. Or maybe it's because I said something that I should have and I feel regret or embarrassment, but it's easier to feel anger than fear or remorse, because anger is at a higher energetic level and that gives me more control, or the sense of control. So we've paused, we've meditated, we've assumed that we're wrong. The fourth key to being happy is to let go of outcomes. What does this mean? This means that since all I can control are my thoughts, are my emotions, and I can't even control those a lot of the time, right? Then I don't have to worry about anything else that's going on out there. I can prepare, I can look inward, I can study, I can get out of my comfort zone, I can improve my skills, I can improve my relationships with people. I can do things that stretch me and let me grow as a person. I can take time to reflect. I can take time to really get in touch with who I am and what I value and how I'm presenting that to the world. If I'm being authentic, if I'm not, if I'm holding back because of fear. Get very clear and honest with myself on all of those things and talk about it with somebody for accountability and get their feedback as well so that I'm not fooling myself. But at the end of the day, I can't control the outcomes of anything that happens. So by letting go, by surrendering to that, I'm actually, when I let go, then my hands are open to receive because I'm not holding on to that illusion of control anymore. Whether it's going in for a job interview, whether it's going on a date, whether it's about to go on stage and speak, whatever it is, the looser I am, the more I'm wearing life like a loose garment, the more fun it'll actually be in the moment, and the better I'll do, more than likely. Now, the more I'm prepared, the more I'm centered in myself, the more I know what I'm doing, the easier it is to let go of the outcome. The easier it is not to worry because I've done the best that I could. So I've kept that internal contract with myself. So then I can walk through being good with myself, not having to worry so much about what you or anybody else in the world thinks. And again, these are ideals. I don't do this perfectly, but it's a lot better than it used to be. And I'm a lot happier than I used to be. And you can be too. These are not short-term fixes. These are actually permanent fixes. It's a way of life. It's a way of perceiving the world. You will see short-term benefits, but the main benefits will come after you've been doing this consistently, because all of a sudden you'll notice the change. You'll notice that you start to automatically reframe things in your mind. You'll start to notice that meditation isn't such a chore anymore. You actually get the benefit from it, so you enjoy it. You'll notice that you're able to tell yourself, oh, I'm probably wrong in this situation. Who's that? That's not me, but it is you because you've been doing the work. So for me, at first, when I started doing these things, it's helpful to take one thing at a time. You can do all of these at once, but really make the goal to become competent in one of these things. And it's probably going to suck at first. And it's probably going to feel like, what's the point? This isn't working. This sucks. And then you push through that and keep going. And if you slip a day or two, you keep going. And all of a sudden, it's a habit. And then once you've built the habit, then you don't have to use your willpower to do it anymore because you're in the habit of doing it, right? And so then you focus on the next one and the next one. All of a sudden, after a period of time, you are a new person with new habits, and your outer world will reflect your new inner state. So thank you for watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll post more videos. You'll be notified. Leave comments if you like. If not, I'll see you next time. Bye. Bye.